Hello viewers, and please welcome once again on today's topic on Amazing Antenna. Amazing Antenna is one of the numerous services that has been managed and provided by AWS. It is a service that analyzes data from Amazing S3. It is serverless in nature, in which we don't need to manage infrastructure on it. Oops, before I forget, my name is Oladebo Ayeni. However, we make use of Amazon Antenna to perform interactive queries on large datasets with complexity, e.g. in CSV files, JSON files, ORC files, and Apaches, etc. etc. Meanwhile, some of the features of Amazon Antenna include 1. Pay as you go, that is, you pay on the number of queries you run on Amazon Antenna's query editor. 2. Data partitioning, by splitting large data sets into smaller and manageable chunks in order to improve data inquiries performance. Without further ado, let's go into our AWS console for this practical exercise. Thank you.
Please welcome back once again on this practical exercise project on Amazing Antenna. However, as we discussed earlier on, that Amazing Antenna is a serverless service that has been managed by AWS that uses SQL query to query data from the database table. Meanwhile, let's go into our AWS Home Console or type aws.com on your browser and go to your account on AWS Console Home. Before we continue, let's go to our region. Very important. When we click on this our region on the right hand side, navigate to any of the region that is closer to you. To me, at London's closer to me, that is Europe. I click that. So let's see the particular project dataset we are going to use for this project. Our dataset is being taken from kego.com, and this is the website where we take our dataset from, as you can see. And the title of our dataset is electrical data underscore clean.csv. And this is the snapshot of our dataset. We have on column A, we have brand. On column B, we have model. On column C, we have accelerated sec. On column D, we have top speed. On column E, we have range kilometer. On column F, we have efficiency. On column G, we have fast charge. On column H, we have rapid charge. On column I, we have powertrain. On column J, we have block type. On column D, K, we have body style. On column L, we have segment. And on column M, we have seat. And on column N, which is price euro. So let's go back to our console. However, on a quick note, let's please see the price homepage of Amazon Antenna. And here it is. This is the price quotation for Amazon Antenna, as you can see here. But on this particular project we are doing, we are not going to be charged. If at all we are going to be charged, it's going to be like less than a cent dollar. And meanwhile, immediately we finish this particular project, we are going to delete all the resources that we use. So let's go back to the architectural structure of Amazon Antenna. This can see, these are the Amazon Antenna architectural structure. We have the data source, that is the S3. Then we'll move to Amazon Antenna data catalog. Then 2, we start growing our data. Then 3, we start analyzing results. So let's go back to our home console again. Meanwhile, on this particular project, we are going to create 2 buckets. One for result table and one for the data set we are going to use. So let's go to our console. As I've said, navigate to the left hand side and type S3 bucket, S3. S3 will pop up as usual. Then right click on it and click on open new tab. Is opening. Good. This is our home page of our bucket. Amazing S3. Good. Now we are now on the home page of S3, Amazing S3 bucket, on how to create a bucket for this particular project. Meanwhile, before I continue, we can feel free to name our bucket any unique name that pleases us. However, if you go down of this particular video description, there's a video I did on how to create S3 bucket, and notwithstanding, we can still use this to see on how to create S3 bucket. So let's navigate to our right hand side and click on create bucket. Click on create bucket. So let's give our bucket name a very unique name. So I'm giving this as Athena bucket result 2025. Let's give it Athena bucket results bucket Athena bucket 2025. Or let's say Oladebo bucket bucket 2025. Oladebo Athena bucket 2025. So we scroll down and leave everything as default. Then we click on create a bucket. As you can see, it's rolling. Good. Our bucket has been created. As you can see, this is Oladebo Athena bucket 2025. So let's go to view details. Click on view details. Then we go on upload our data set. Meanwhile, if you remember, our data set we are going to use for this particular project is going to be electric car, as seen earlier on. Electrical car clean underscore CSV. So let's go to advice. Click on this, open. As you can see, our electrical car data underscore clean.csv has come in. So let's go down and upload it. You can see our data have been successfully uploaded. Upload succeeded, as you can see here. So let's go back to S3 to create the second bucket. We click here. Then we click on this. Then we go to create a bucket. Then we name this bucket as the name I'm giving it, the unique name I'm going to give this particular bucket, I'm going to give it Athena result table 2025. Athena results Athena results 2025. So we scroll down as usual, what we did as usual, and we click on create a bucket. As you can see, our bucket has been created. If you remember, on this particular Athena result, we didn't upload any data, but as time goes on, I will tell you what we are going to do on this. So this one was when we uploaded our data, as you can see, that has our data inside as electrical car. So let's go back to our home page on Amazing Console. This is our home page of AWS Console Home. So let's go to the left hand side as usual to type Athena on our search button. Let's click here and type Athena. You can see it has popped up. We right click on it. Then we click on this particular link on a new tab. Already I've done mine, and here is mine. By the time you click on this particular, it will take us to query editor, which is this. As you can see, we are now on our query editor on Amazing Antenna. If you can navigate to the left hand side of our page on Amazing Antenna query editor, you see where they write data and they put data source, and where you have AWS data catalog. Meanwhile, AWS data catalog is just like a default for our data .csv file, and with Antenna, it's storing and retrieving data, running queries, and is doing it against our AWS data catalog by registering it in our database. Meanwhile, if you find this video interesting, please don't forget to click like or subscribe so that the algorithms can share it to others. However, if you go down, you can see where they wrote tables and views. When we click on create table, there are three different ways we can bring in our table and register it with AWS data catalog, also with analytical tools. And the three ways are S3 bucket data, AWS glue crawler, and create table with our SQL query statement. This particular S3 bucket is just like filling a form. Let us open it and see what is there. This is how it looks like. You fill this particular form, your data type, the column name, and the rest. Then, when you go back to this one, is like this create a table with SQL statements, like writing a query statement on your editor to create a table, the data type, and the column. I will suggest we make use of AWS glue crawler. However, as you all know that AWS glue crawler will automate and format our dataset structure by producing columns, data type, and others, and put it in a database where we create and register the table with our AWS glue data catalog. Click on AWS glue crawler. It takes us to AWS glue crawler homepage. As you can see, it's opening gradually. Let's allow it to open. Good. So let's name our glue crawler details name by saying our first glue crawler. Our first glue crawler. Our first glue crawler, and say next. Then you're going to add a data source by clicking here. Then we go to data source with S3. There are other places we can pick up our data from, as you can see, for example, DB, data lake, Postgres, and the rest. So we are picking S3. Then we go to browse S3. Then we look for our data. Click in here. Our table Athena bucket 2025. Click on this. I will click on close. So we had the S3 data source by clicking here. Good. Then click on next. We need to configure our IAM setting by clicking on the arrow and pick the one that we already use here. And click on next. So now we need to configure our output settings. That is, our crawler will go to S3 bucket and create a table for us and register it with AWS data catalog where our database is. So let's click on our database. And name our database. our data database. Our database. So we click on create database here and go to the previous tab and click on refresh. I will click on this arrow down and take our database. Then we scroll down and click on our demand. That's crawler schedule frequency. The crawler is done. It will create a table in our database. So let's click on next. So let's review and create our crawler properties by reviewing all the data on our screen and go down and click on create crawler. Now our crawler has been successfully created. So before we run our crawler, in summary, we got the CSV file in AWS S3 bucket. We have the AWS Glue pack that we crawl a S3 bucket by using AWS Glue crawler. Automate it by producing the structure, columns, and data type and others, and put it in a database we create. So let's run our crawler here by clicking on this. You can see our crawler successfully starting. The flowing crawler is now starting. Good. However, please take note to change our IAM configuration setting that we did earlier on from AWS Glue Service Rule bucket 2025 to this as AWS Glue Service Rule TTT 2025 when setting our IAM configuration setting. Then please also remember to change our crawler properties details name too from our first clue crawler to my first clue crawler. Please take note of these two changes that we did, both on crawler properties and IAM role security configuration. And let's continue. So let's rerun our crawler. And let's navigate to our left hand side and click on database. Good. As you can see, this is our database. When we go to our tables, as you can see the name of our data set in our bucket. That is allowable antenna. That's allowable antenna bucket 25 and the location. And let's click here. And let's scroll down. You can see schema of our data set, the column name, the data type, and the rest. So let's go back. In summary, we got our CSV file in AWS S3 bucket. We have the AWS Glue pack that we call our S3 bucket by using AWS Glue crawler to automate it by producing the structural columns, data types, and others, and put it in a database we create. The crawler also registers the table with AWS Glue data catalog, and then we use AWS Athena and the AWS Glue data catalog to write our SQL query statement. So let's go back to our Athena query editor and let us refresh our editor. As you can see, you see the database and our table. These are our table, these are our data. Let's click here and see what's there. You can see this is the column of our data set. So let's go into our editor now and write a query statement. For example, let's say select star from Oladipo bucket. Automatically to come up. You can see as pop up our database. That is it. Let's break it down and run it here. Let's run it. Good. As you can see, these are our data. As you can see, our brand, model, acceleration, top speed, and the rest. This is the column of our data here as well too. I see run completed. So also we can also join tables here as well too. You have more than one tables on this particular practical exercise that we do on this project. So as also you can see the database catalog, our default, our database, our table, the table's names and the brand, the column names, the data type, and they can also copy or download our result into our second table that we created, that's in our bucket, second bucket that we created earlier on. So this is how we're going to end this particular project here. So let's go to how I'm going to delete this particular project. So let's delete our tables by going this place and click on this and go to delete tables. We delete this, then we copy this particular this that we just did here, our names of our bucket, copy it, put it here, then we delete. We delete this, click on this, we delete our default, our database, then we type this particular delete. You can copy this and put it here. To confirm, tap delete. Then we click on this. So we delete this as well. So we are through. Don't have anything there. We have 0 tables, no table again. So this comes to an end on this particular project practice exercise on Amazing Athena. Thank you and God bless.